Once you've created a blank live set by clicking File, New Live Set, you should have this view. You find that Ableton by default shows you that vertical session view, but today we're actually going to work in the arrangement view. We can get there using the horizontal and vertical buttons in the top right corner, or use the Tab key on your keyboard to toggle. So I'm going to leave it in the horizontal view. Now I don't want to use any MIDI tracks today, so I'm clicking on track 1 in that colored area, and I'm going to hit delete 3 times just to leave one audio track there. Because today we're actually going to explore Ableton a little bit. This area here is where we can drop new devices and add in new clips and sounds. What I'm going to do is actually come across to the samples area. You see we have different sounds, drum machines, instruments, etc. But over in this browser, if I click samples, you'll see there's various samples, including one-shots and loops. If I click on one, as long as this blue headphones are actually blue, you should find it will preview. It's going to preview each sample you click on and just give you an idea what that sounds like. So my first step today is just to zoom in a little bit. So right now you see the numbers 1, 5, 9, 13. That represents bars. What I'm going to get you guys to do is, if you look up along this big strip just below the global play controls of play, stop and record, you will actually see I can grab the right hand side of that box and bring it in. And I'm looking at the number 3. Watch how I'm going to make that number 3 appear all the way across to the right there. And that has zoomed into the point where I can see 1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. That represents the first beat of bar 1, second beat, like 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. That's pretty much 2 bars of music. I'm going to actually highlight that 2-bar area between bar 1 and up to the start of bar 3, and if I right click, I can actually click loop selection, and that puts this little loop area above a loop point, and when I actually hit play, it's going to loop that 2-bar loop. Okay, so I'm actually going to change my mind and change it into a 1-bar loop by grabbing the edge of the loop area, putting it on the number 2, making our loop just 1 bar in length. Okay, so what we're looking to do is put some kick drums on this track. I'm actually going to place kick drums on every beat. It's going to be called a 4 on the floor pattern. I'm going to type in the word kick in the search field, making sure I'm in the samples area in the browser, and I can go through with the blue headphones turned on and that button, and I can listen to some different kicks. Some of them will be loops. I don't want to actually get anything that is a loop like this one that's playing now. I want a single one-shot. So let me see. That looks like a one-shot kick. I'm going to drag it in and place it on beat 1. What I'm actually going to do is I could drag it off here and place it on the other beats as well, but I want to show you guys how to actually copy something you've already placed. If I click on that clip, on the title of it, I can do Control-C, place my cursor on 1.2, meaning the second beat of bar 1, and hit Control-V. And another cool way to do this is hold the Control key and hover over the title of that clip, and see the little hand? Drag that and drop it where you want that duplicate to appear. And that's a really handy way of getting a 4 on the floor kick that sounds like this. Okay, I could change the tempo. We're currently at 120 beats per minute. If I click on that, I can actually drag it up and down. If I drag it down to a really slow tempo, or I can click on there and type 140 beats per minute. Okay, but I think what I'll do is just put it back to 120 and have a listen. I'm happy with that for now. After putting my kick drums in, 4 on the floor, I'm actually going to type in clap. I'm going to use a clap instead of a snare today. I reckon we'll go with a 909 clap sample. I'm going to drag that onto a new track. So below my audio track with the kick drums, I'm not going to put it on the same track. I'm going to put it below, and I'm going to line it up with the second beat of the bar. On the timeline, that's 1.2. I'm going to drop it. Now, you'll see that this clap has a really, really long tail of silence. We don't need that. I'm going to actually come up to the colored title bar of that clip, drag it over, and let's just make it last for half a beat. Okay, that's long enough. Then I'm going to duplicate by clicking on that. I'm going to hold Control. I'm going to drag it to 1.4, meaning we should have claps on beats 2 and 4. Okay, I could even get fancy and say, I'm going to look for a snare drum. And let's try Hypno Snare. What's that? That's actually a loop. You'll see and hear that it's playing not just a one shot, so I don't want that one. I'm looking for a one shot snare. Okay, that one there. I'm going to grab this snare, place it on beats 2 and 4 as well. I'm duplicating it. Again, that long tail of silence, not really needed. Okay, we've got now our kick drum, a clap and a snare sounding like this. I could have a listen. I could turn off my snare. I can turn off the kick. Turn my kick back on. Have a listen to the snare without the clap. And then listen to the combined effect. Okay, our next challenge is to look at some hi-hats. I'm going to type the word hat in my search field, again making sure I'm in the samples area. And I'm going to listen to some of these hat samples, find an open hat that I like, or a half open hat. I'll just roll with this one, and I'm going to throw it. What I'm actually going to do is start by just dropping it on beat 1, just to work with it. Check out how long that tail is. I don't need a tail that long. I'm going to find the square bracket, like that, bring it over, and I'm actually going to make it half a beat long. I can see that little divot on the timeline. It tells me that's half a beat long. And if you want to be really, really fancy, you can put a little fade out on it. That'll make sure it doesn't stop with any kind of sound. And I could do likewise with my claps, just to make sure it doesn't stop with a harsh kind of cut off or clip. You could put little fades on each of those if you want to be really clean. Okay, I've got that hi-hat, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to move it to the offbeat. Now, to make this easier on myself, I'm going to right click here, and instead of having this grid as like an auto grid, I'm going to change it to be eighth notes or quavers. Now, suddenly that got rid of heaps of extra little subdivisions in the grid. Just rewind if you want to see that again. But I had previously all these little grid subdivisions. It's now very easy for me to snap that onto the beats or the off beats, meaning like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I'm going to put it on the ands, duplicating that across by holding Control and dropping it, and have a listen. Okay, now I'm struggling to hear that with my current setup, so just bear with me as I just turn that up a little. Cool, I can confirm with my ears that I've created the right thing. Now, what I'm actually going to do is have a listen without the kick drum. With kick drum. Without snare drum. Without the hat. Bring the snare drum back. Add the hat. Okay, that is your challenge today, to recreate that house beat. If you want to do an extra thing, you might find a closed hat, such as, have a listen, hat closed, can work. And I could throw that one on a new track on the beats. Instead of the off beats, I'm going to put that on the ones with numbers, 1.3, 1.4. And let's listen to just the hats by removing the yellow buttons for those top three. Add the kicks. Add the claps in. What you might now do, if you actually finish this and manage to save your project into your OneDrive, creating a 2026 folder, Year 7 Music, and giving it a name such as today's date to save that, then if you actually complete that little task today, I would suggest you copy all of those into the next bar and explore like putting a double clap on beat 4 here. I can move my loop area and listen to this sort of area, and that is basically what you're going to do. All right, we'll leave it there for today, guys, and good luck.